Starting off this hour, a horrific chain of events has played out in California over the last few days. Several incidents involving police officers taking extreme measures, using violence to try to control nonviolent people. Let's start out with Anaheim, California. Police on Saturday approached several men in an alleyway, and when those men started running, one of them was shot dead by police, though he was unarmed and posing no danger to anyone. Then, as hours passed and neighbors began to protest and demand answers from police, police responded violently. Once again, take a look.
They just released the dog and I had my baby and my
You can see here they were shooting rubber bullets and let go of one of these dogs who ran directly at this man here, as well as that woman who was holding her baby at the time. Witnesses visibly upset and angry, and frankly, many of them say they were scared for their lives. I want to talk more about this with Michael Prysner. He's the member of the Answer Coalition. And Michael, from what I understand, you were there. I saw you tweeting about this over the weekend. Describe the scene on Saturday and what you saw unfold here.
Sure. Well, I wasn't at the incident Saturday. I've been in the community talking to witnesses, talking to victims of the police attack. I was there Sunday when we, community members, and the Answer Coalition and others took over a police station for about an hour in protest. But to let you know what played out on Saturday, by all accounts of witnesses who were there and those who were victims of the attack, someone named Manuel Diaz, who is a local resident in the community, was not in an alleyway with his friends, as the police say, but was simply in the neighborhood. They did run when police confronted them, but when Manuel Diaz had already been shot once and was surrendering, when he was shot a second time in the head, killing him, at that point, he was still alive. People in the community were yelling out to the police that he was still alive to give him medical attention, but instead the police were more concerned with blocking people filming and then handcuffed and searched Manuel Diaz as he was dying on the ground. Then, understandably, people who had just witnessed this attack and who deal with police brutality and intimidation on a daily basis was coming out onto their front lawns into the community, voicing their opposition to what happened, peacefully protesting on their front lawns what had happened in their neighborhood. And the police responded unprovoked, without warning, first firing rubber bullets, beanbag shotguns, which have both been known to kill people, using pepper spray bullets and tear gassing people, and then unleashing an attack dog, as we saw in the video, on a woman and child. And a young boy was mauled in that dog attack, as were other young people as well. And then we know that protests continued. They continued throughout the night. The next day on Sunday, we had a large group of us that was led by the family of the victims. And in fact, 3 young girls whose brother was the one that was mauled by the police dog led the demonstration into the Anaheim police station, where we took over the station for over an hour, chanting "cowards, shame on you" to the police who were there, and really shut things down for a while.
A couple things
here. The protest
here.
Continued throughout the day.
A couple things here, Michael, because you touched upon quite a few things, so I want to kind of break this down for a moment. First of all, it was really interesting because I was kind of reading about this over Twitter and stuff as it unfolded over the weekend. But the fact is, you know, the police department at first said, oh, the residents were throwing things at us. You know, as you say, maybe the alleyway was incorrect. The fact is, usually, and I've worked in local news for years, when you are trying to get the facts of a story, oftentimes all you have is this police statement. We are living in a new age today because we have cell phone video more and more often. What do you think, you know, how do you think this is going to change things? I mean, we saw, and it was brutal to see that dog, that police dog, run and just start attacking a man. Do you think things are going to change now with these videos?
Well, it's going to be the people mobilizing that's going to make these things change. And of course, this revolution in technology has really revolutionized the way that we can monitor police activity, because this is not an isolated incident. This is nothing new. The reason so many people have come out in protest is because they are used to this as a day-to-day reality in their communities, this type of brutality and this type of violence from the police force. So now, for the first time in the history of dealing with police violence, we are able to actually document what's happening and counter what's going to be given out by the police, which is 99% of the time going to be complete fabrication to justify the actions that they had taken on. And even with this case of saying, oh, they had to respond because people were throwing bottles, that is very likely not true. Witnesses say that aren't true. But even if it was true, does that justify shooting weapons that can kill people into a crowd of children where there are baby strollers, where there are mothers holding infants? If this was a white, affluent community, the police would have dealt with this situation very differently. But because it was a poor, working-class Latino community, the knee-jerk response of the police was to start firing on people.
Well, it was really interesting, too. I'm not sure if any of the residents told you this, Michael, but a lot of them saying police officers after this incident were actually knocking on doors trying to buy cell phone video, which I can only assume would be paid for with taxpayer dollars, to try to prevent this video from being released. Your thoughts on this?
Absolutely. The police did go door to door in this neighborhood, offering, from what I hear, a significant amount of money for any cell phone footage or any video footage that people had of the incident. In addition to them, the first thing they did after killing Manuel Diaz was trying to block people from taking video. And what this shows is that the police departments all around the country are well aware that now, for the first time, their actions are up for public scrutiny and a matter of public record. And that's something that is very scary to the police force, because up until now, all they've had to do is maintain their code of silence, where no cops rat on each other. Everyone conducts these types of actions every day, but they're kept safe. But now people are now in their own hands, having the ability to expose what people deal with every day in the United States.
And it's not just police departments all around the country. Of course, that's true. But we want to hone in for a moment on police departments in California. California residents, of course, no stranger to this. We've just put together a few clips that I want to play. And this is how it's going to play out. It's Scott Olson, critically injured during an Occupy Wall Street protest in Oakland, followed by video of a BART police officer fatally shooting Oscar Grant, also in Oakland, and finally of a 37-year-old homeless man beaten to death by officers in Santa Ana. That also caught on camera. Take a look at this.
What happened? What happened?
You got hit. Shot.
What's your name? What's your name?
What's your name?
Okay. Here, dude. Here, just come.
Sorry.
Please.
Hey, come on.
Please don't, dude. Please.
So really just all of these things so hard to watch. And yet some of these incidents have prompted mass protests, and yet this is still happening. Why do you think this is, Michael?
Well, it was interesting to see the demonstration yesterday at the police headquarters, the Anaheim police headquarters, because, the epidemic of police brutality, not just in the United States, but here in California, that protest consisted of many family members of very high-profile police killings. For example, Kelly Thomas, who was seen in this video. People who had been active around the Kelly Thomas campaign. Families and friends of a man named Mike Nida, who there's a protest this Saturday, who was murdered in Downey, California. And so, this isn't, of course, an isolated incident, but what is going to stop it, of course, is the people mobilizing in response and putting enough pressure on the politicians, on the police department, to take drastic action. Of course, there's deeper systemic problems linked with these things that are much deeper to address. But I think immediately what can happen is people mobilizing, putting pressure on the city council, on the police department. So every single one of those officers who played a part in this police riot and these police killings are fired from their jobs and are tried in a court for the crimes they've committed.
When you took over this police station, went down to it on Sunday, did the police understand why you were there? Were they courteous to you?
Well, I wouldn't say they were courteous. They were very afraid. They basically locked up all the windows and doors that they could. We basically had the lobby completely under our control. The only police officers there were the ones that were just guarding the entrance into the back area of the police station. But they weren't courteous. They were just very, very scared, because they know that video footage does not lie, that whatever lies they're used to putting out in statements to the press, their actions are on full display for millions around the world to see.
All right. We'll appreciate having you on the show to give us a firsthand look at what you saw, at least in this protest on Sunday. Michael Prysner, member of the Answer Coalition, joining us from our LA studios.